Today's lesson, Introduction of Modern Education, chapter number 10. Points, Wood's Dispatch, Importance of Native Languages, Usefulness of Modern Education, Rationale behind modern education, improvement of intellectual standards. The first point, Wood's Dispatch. Who was Wood? Who was Wood? Wood was actually the president of the education department. Understood? Wood was the president of the company's board of control. His full name is Charles Wood, Sir Charles Wood. As a president of the company's board of control, Sir Charles Wood decided to prepare a dispatch which was issued on 19th July 1854. And this dispatch issued on July 1854 is known as Wood's Dispatch. Since it was issued by Sir Charles Wood, this dispatch also after the name of Sir Charles Wood, Wood's Dispatch. It is known as Wood's Dispatch. Now, what was the aim of that very dispatch? The dispatch of Wood, followed the advice of Macaulay, Lord Macaulay. What Lord Macaulay wrote in his minutes, they acknowledged it. They acknowledged the importance of native languages and literature, but they also at the same time made a reconciliation between the two sides. Recognition of native languages and literature, and recognition of Western education, Western science, Western knowledge. It was declared to be compulsory. Learning of Western science, Western language was declared compulsory. English was established as a medium of instruction at all levels. So this is about Wood's Dispatch. Wood's dispatch actually was based on Lord Macaulay's minute. And the committee, under the reports of Lord Macaulay's minute, a committee was set up by the British Parliament to decide the policy for education in India. And it is therefore decided that the President would take the decision of providing higher education for India in consultation with the educationists of India. For that reason, as a president of the company's board of control, as a president of the committee of company's board of control, Sir Charles Wood issued that very dispatch. This dispatch is known as Wood's Dispatch. It was issued in the year 1854 in the month of July. And according to that dispatch, it was decided that learning and teaching of native language, native literature should be given equal importance along with learning of English education through the medium of English as the medium of instruction. So this is about Wood's Dispatch. And next one, importance of native languages. Native languages were important. The British realized it They realized that India was a country of different languages, different people, different customs, different sects, different communities, different religious groups. That's why equal there should be equal distributions among the Indian people. There should be equal importance for the Indian people. That's why there should be given equal chance to the people of India of different categories, different sentiments, to be educated through native languages. There are so many native languages in India: Marathi, Gujarati, Madrasi, so this, Bengali, Odisha, Bengali, and so on. That's why the British decided under the dispatch of Wood to provide education through the native languages as well as Western system of learning with English as the medium of instruction. And next one, usefulness of modern education. The British tried their level best to make it understand to the people of India that learning of modern education is very important to them. Learning of English language, English literature, learning of English language, English literature was good for them because it was a part of modern outlook. It was a part of modern education. The British decided to introduce modern education in India so that they must have obtained the knowledge of modern science, modern literature, modern education, and Western language, Western culture, Western, education properly. That's why, my dear students, the British gave importance to the people of India to be educated through Western system of learning with English as the medium of instruction. Next point, rationale behind modern education. The main purpose behind the British education policy in India was to create a class of Indians who could be employed in their civil services. The British, decided to allow them to be appointed in India so that the process of making a revolutionary group against them would be immediately stopped, and they could pay tribute, they could pay respect to the British. And for that reason, the British hoped that the Indians would be given a chance to be self-sufficient. Automatically their family members would be grateful to them. A modern education would develop a taste for British goods, which would increase the profits of British manufacturers. It was also hoped that modern education would lead to a sense of respect and admiration for British rule, which would eventually aid the British colonial enterprise in India. The British already had become the ruler of India. That's why they needed to have the respect from the Indian people. How was it possible? By providing them services, jobs in the British administration. by providing them modern education, by making them good, students, by making them, educated people, automatically they would be able to have a sense of respect for the British and they would be loyal to them. The British also may have wanted to improve the intellectual standards of the Indians and encourage them to think in a rational manner and logical manner so that they could understand that they were inferior to the Britishers and the Britishers were superior to them in culture, in education, in intelligence, presence of mind, in wit, in every field the Britishers were superior to them. But a group of Indian people, they never thought that they were inferior to them. Those who received Western education, now they realize that they were not inferior to the Britishers. They could speak English fluently like the British. They could establish an image as an westernized man. Naturally, they were not inferior to the Britishers, and Britishers were not superior to them. But other section of people, they never paid respect towards the British. They thought that the British rule was a curse for their nation. The British rule would be immediately removed. The British must leave the country. That group of people, after having received Western education, joined the revolutionary groups in order to make our country, India, free from the British. The British decided to manage them by providing good jobs of good salaries, but still they did not join the British jobs of fat salaries. They joined Indian revolutionary group because they were the real patriot. They were the real patriots. They took an oath that they would make the country free from British rule. They dedicated their life, contributed, sacrificed their life for the sake of the motherland. That's why improvement of intellectual standards. Those who receive Western education, the group of intellectuals, they wanted to join the good jobs of the British administration, but they did not join it because they all were from rich and prosperous family. They had no problem for money. They had huge properties, ponds, agricultural lands, acres of agricultural lands, a number of ponds, huge quantities of agricultural productions from their lands, huge money, huge properties. Their parents left for them. So they had no monetary problem, financial crisis. Moreover, they received Western education and became educated through the system of Western learning with English language. the knowledge of English language helped them to be self-sufficient, to be westernized men, to be westernized men. So that group of people who are known as intellectuals, modern intellectuals, the British decided to give them importance. The British, they were scared of them because they knew that these intellectual groups might raise hue and cry in the country against the oppressive rule, against the oppressive policies of the Britishers. They might provocate Indian people and could organize revolts, rebellions, agitations against them. That's why the British offered them good jobs or fat salaries. But many of them, they did not, join these jobs. They did not accept that offers, but joined Indian revolutionary groups. Some of them, they organized revolutionary groups from abroad. It was Lala Hardwal, a person of that very group, started armed rebellion from America and decided to supply weapons, modern weapons, to the revolutionaries and asked the revolutionaries to start armed rebellion in India. Aurobindo Ghosh, Barin Ghosh, they all received Western education. They were highly intellectuals. The knowledge of English language was as good as the British could not differentiate. Aurobindo Ghosh could not differentiate the writings of Aurobindo Ghosh between them and he. It was Aurobindo Ghosh whose English drafts were as, aesthetic. The British considered him to be good in English, better in English than the Britishers. It was Aurobindo Ghosh, who also joined that revolutionary group. Initially, he became the principal of a college. A number of colleges offered him the post for principal. He joined, but after a few days accompanied with them, he left that very job and joined the revolutionary group in order to make the country free. So up to this, my dear students, next day I shall discuss about the negative influence of modern education on Indian society, the positive impact of modern education, the role of Indian intellectuals, the role of the British intellectuals. So next day, these are the points I shall teach up to this.